When you begin to focus on yourself and embrace silence, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to grow in ways that noise simply can't allow. You start to tune into a voice that too many people drown out every day. Your own. The world is loud, constantly pulling at your attention with opinions, distractions, and noise disguised as opportunity. But growth, real growth, doesn't happen in that noise. It happens in silence, in solitude, in the quiet corners where you're free to reflect, to dream, to fail without judgment, and to get up again stronger than you were before. You see, the man or woman who truly begins to focus on themselves discovers that silence is not emptiness, it's clarity, it's control. When you're constantly broadcasting your goals to the world, you invite commentary, expectation, and interference. But when you keep those dreams close to your chest and nurture them in silence, you protect them. You give them the environment they need to mature. You water them with discipline, sunlight them with purpose, and protect them from the cold winds of doubt and distraction. People often ask, why stay silent? Why not share your journey? And I say, because when you're talking, you're not building. When you're explaining, you're not executing. Silence isn't weakness. It's strength under control. It's the silent man in the room, the one who's listening, learning, observing, who often holds the most power. He knows he doesn't need to convince anyone of who he is or what he's capable of. He lets his work make the noise. Let me tell you, the most dangerous thing you can give away is your intention. Once people know your next move, they begin to shape it with their opinions. Some will cheer you on, sure, but many won't. Some will quietly hope you fail, not out of malice, but out of their own insecurity. When you share too soon, you plant seeds in soil that hasn't been tilled. Your dreams are delicate in the beginning. They need protection, not applause. They need time, not talk. Focus on yourself and let the silence become your sanctuary. It is in that space of solitude that your mind begins to sharpen. You start to see what you couldn't see before. You hear the subtle voice of your own intuition guiding you. You become aware of your patterns, both the ones building you and the ones breaking you. And when you are honest with yourself in silence, you begin to break free from the illusion that you have to perform for anyone. You begin to realize that every moment you spend chasing external validation is a moment stolen from your own inner empire. If you really want to build something lasting, be it a business, a legacy, a stronger version of yourself, you must learn the value of moving in silence, not hiding, but operating with intention, not avoiding people, but being selective with who gets access to your energy. The time you spend scrolling through other people's lives, comparing, competing, wondering if you're ahead or behind, that's time you could spend working on yourself, evolving, getting sharper, more focused, more dangerous in your discipline. Every great achievement starts in the silence of a decision, a moment when someone says, this is what I want, and I don't care who sees it, who agrees with it, or who claps for it. I will do it because it's mine to do. And then they go to work, quietly, relentlessly, day by day. And when the results come, people will ask, where did that come from? But you'll know you've been planting, watering, pruning, and growing all along. There's a power that comes when you stop trying to be seen and start trying to be great. A calm confidence that replaces the need for recognition. That's when you become unstoppable. Because you're no longer working for approval, you're working for purpose. And when purpose becomes your compass, silence becomes your strategy, you realize you don't need to announce the moves. You need only to make them. And so I tell you, focus on yourself. Stay silent, not because the world doesn't deserve your greatness, but because you owe it to yourself to build it first without interference, without noise, and without distraction. Let your silence be the soil where your greatness grows. Let them wander. There is something far more powerful than words, something that cannot be faked or borrowed or inflated, and that is action. In a world where so many are quick to speak, to boast, to tell you what they're going to do or who they're going to be, the man of action stands apart. He doesn't need to declare his ambition to the world because he understands a deeper truth. Actions speak louder than words, and results are the only proof worth showing. Too many people waste precious energy telling others what they plan to do. They announce their goals with great enthusiasm. They post it, they share it, they say it over and over again, and then what happens? Nothing, or very little, because the energy that should have gone into doing the work was lost in trying to convince others that the work was already being done. And here's the thing, they're not fooling anyone but themselves. When you act, when you build, when you create, you're laying bricks in silence. You're forging something real. And real work, meaningful, lasting work, requires focus. It demands sacrifice, late nights, early mornings, and discipline that few are willing to maintain. It isn't glamorous in the moment. It doesn't get applause or likes or instant validation. It's slow, it's quiet, and it's often lonely. But that's the path. That's the proving ground. Let the others talk. Let them explain and perform. You just keep building, because when the results come, and they will come if your work is consistent, those same people who doubted you, ignored you, or tried to outshine you with noise, they will take notice. Not because you told them who you were, but because you showed them. There is a satisfaction that comes from doing the work without announcing it. It's the satisfaction of knowing that you are aligned with your purpose, that you are no longer trying to impress anyone or gain approval. You are simply living it, becoming it, doing it. And that energy, pure, quiet, focused energy, creates momentum that can't be stopped by outside forces. Now listen closely. People may not respect your words, but they will respect your results. They may doubt your intentions, but they can't deny your impact. When you stay quiet and let your actions do the speaking, you create mystery. You create power, because people don't know what's coming next. They just know it's coming from someone who delivers. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to explain your process, your timeline, or your setbacks. You owe no one an explanation for your progress. Let your growth, your evolution, your quiet climb to the top be the only message you send. That is the language of the truly powerful. The ones who move in silence and let their success echo through every room they walk into. When you're constantly talking about your next move, you give others a chance to interfere, to insert their doubt, to water down your vision with their limitations. But when you keep it to yourself, when you keep your head down and your mouth closed, no one can touch it. It's protected. And your time and energy stay where they belong, on the task, on the craft, on the goal. And here's the beauty of it. You begin to fall in love with the process. Not the recognition, not the praise, not the reward, just the process. That's where the transformation happens. That's when you become someone capable of achieving what most only dream about. Not because you talked about it, but because you were about it. Every time you choose action over announcement, every time you hold back from explaining and instead execute, you separate yourself from the crowd. You become someone who can be trusted, someone who can be counted on, not for what you say, but for what you do. That's real credibility. That's lasting power, and it cannot be taken away because it wasn't given, it was earned. So, while others are broadcasting dreams, you be the one building them. While others seek attention, you seek mastery. While others are chasing applause, you chase excellence. And when the day comes that your work speaks so loudly it drowns out every doubt, you won't need to say a word. Just work. Let them watch. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide whose voice matters most, the noise of the world or the quiet truth within. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you're not withdrawing from life. You're protecting something sacred, your energy, your peace, your clarity. You begin to realize that not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. Not every conversation needs your opinion. Not every challenge deserves your response. Silence becomes your shield, and focus becomes your guide. People will pull at you from every direction. They'll want to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you'll be finished. Some ask out of curiosity, others out of envy. Some want to support, yes, but many just want to measure you, place you in a category, decide if you're a threat or not. And if you give them too much, if you give them access to your thoughts, your doubts, your process, they'll start projecting their own limitations onto your vision. They'll try to edit your story before you've even finished writing the first chapter. That's why protecting your energy is not selfish. It's necessary. The more you grow, the more you'll see how valuable your peace truly is. Not everyone will understand your path, and that's fine. They don't have to. What matters is that you understand it, that you protect it from being twisted or diluted by people who are not equipped to walk it. Silence helps you hold that space for yourself. It keeps the distractions out and the focus in. There is a deep power in being able to keep your emotions regulated when the world is trying to throw you off balance. When you don't respond to every jab, every provocation, every unnecessary debate, you preserve your strength. You're not avoiding life, you're choosing your battles. You're conserving energy for what truly matters. That is power under control. That is maturity. You see, when you start talking less, listening more, and moving with intention, you start to become aware of who is really for you and who only shows up when the spotlight is shining. Silence has a way of revealing people. When you no longer feed them your energy or your attention, some will disappear. Let them, because your energy is your currency. Spend it where it multiplies, not where it's wasted. The world will often pressure you to be loud, to stay visible, to constantly express and explain yourself. But the strongest people I've known are those who've learned the art of quiet endurance. The ones who don't need to post every victory, don't need to clap back at every critic, don't need to explain every move. They simply live in alignment with their values, move with purpose, and let time reveal their truth. And here's what happens when you really commit to this level of self-focus. You stop being reactive. You no longer flinch at every opinion, panic at every setback, or chase every trend. You become still, not stagnant, still, steady, focused. And in that stillness, you gain the clarity to see what others miss. You begin to notice patterns, feel your intuition more clearly, and make decisions from a place of power, not pressure. Silence gives you that edge. It keeps you unpredictable. No one knows what you're thinking, where you're heading, or what you're planning next, and that uncertainty becomes your advantage. You're not giving them the playbook. You're just playing the game better, smarter, quieter. And the results? They won't be able to ignore them. There's no need to rush to prove yourself, no need to announce your progress or defend your decisions. Let them wonder. Let them assume. While they speculate, you elevate. While they talk, you build. And as your peace deepens and your focus sharpens, you'll find that you no longer even crave the approval you once sought. Because you've built something far more valuable than applause. You've built inner peace. That peace is the foundation of all greatness. It gives you the space to think clearly, to move deliberately, to act with confidence. It protects your mind from the chaos of the world. And once you've tasted it, once you've truly felt the freedom of living for yourself and not for the noise, you'll never want to go back. So I say again, focus on yourself, stay silent, and protect your peace. The world doesn't need to hear your every thought. It needs to witness your transformation.